We have been doing events since 2003. You can imagine what COVID-19 did rapidly to the event world. So in about a 10-day period, we took a $3 million haircut on the events that we had ready to roll out.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are talking with Matt and Jim from Street Factor Media in Minneapolis. They design pieces for these incredible experiential events, but in the face of this disaster have had to pivot a bit as events are being canceled and have created this incredible safe serve door. And we would love to hear from them kind of not only how that idea came to be, but how they're starting to roll it out to other restaurants.
Well, day in and day out, we're an experiential firm, and we have been doing events all over the country since 2003. You can imagine what COVID-19 did rapidly to the event world, right? In about a 10-day period, we took a $3 million haircut on the events that we had ready to roll out, right? So it was kind of a short order that we felt it early on. And I think everyone needs a therapist in this time. I was sitting in my therapist's office, and I had shown up on a day she said that she couldn't make it. And the kernel of the idea popped in my head. Then our team went into action and they evolved it so that it actually was something far better than I imagined it in my head. And that's kind of how it rolled out in short order.
So what does it look like? Describe to me what this thing is.
Yeah, so there's 3 different models. The essence of it is to retrofit or convert the front door of any retailer or restaurant into almost a drive-up window mechanism, just to create a safe transaction barrier. So we have queue lines out in front so people keep a 6-foot distance between one another. It's like going up to a food truck, and it's just a really simple retrofit mechanism.
The curbside methodology that a lot of restaurants are using right now is working, and it's working pretty well for consumers, but in terms of keeping the staff safe, you've still got a lot of consumers that just kind of walk into the restaurant, and that's kind of a problem. So this is sort of a really safe way to sort of allow that transaction to occur. A lot of what the motivation behind this was not so much Street Factory trying to come up with some new product to sell. It's really about helping a lot of people we know in the hospitality industry, which is really hurting right now, kind of reinvent themselves. So our goal is to sort of make these at cost for restaurants to stay in business, to sort of remain viable. And I think the cool thing about the setup we just did at Muddy Waters is it's already doubled their walk-up business. And it also functions as an advertisement to the community that sort of says, hey, we're open for business and this is a safe way to transact.
I just love that you guys had the fabrication capabilities to do this. Like, how have your employees felt about being able to still be working on something and then feel like the thing that they're working on is helping other businesses stay viable during this time as well?
That's a great point you bring up, because they did want to stay working, right? And so they've managed safe protocols in our fabrication shop, how they work distances and how they kind of have quarantined off areas. So when they did the installation, like everybody on the fabrication team wanted to be a part of that. It felt like a little bit like a trophy. But then when they also heard that revenues doubled, like right afterwards for Muddy Waters, I think that made them feel pretty exceptional. Like they helped somebody at a time when, it's pandemonium, right?
Yeah. Could you get to a point where the demand for it is so high that the cost does come down because just of the volume that you're producing? Or when do you kind of have that tipping point?
When we saw that it really took off, the next phase of our thinking was, well, how can we actually scale this in a way that more and more restaurants can jump on board? There's a lot of restaurants that would love to have this. They just don't have the cash flow right now. So it goes from being kind of a physical problem to a business problem of how can we, even at cost, get these safe serve vestibules out into the community. And so that's kind of the mode we're in right now. We know that marketers are sort of paralyzed right now. They're just starting to wake up and saying, this isn't going away, so we can't just hide in a hole for 3 weeks and then go back to normal. We need to rethink about how we communicate with our consumers. And I think probably the smartest thing marketers can do right now is figure out how they can help the community. And this is a great way to help every community on a really hyper-local, hyper-relevant way, is to sponsor these safe serves as almost a media buy. Getting behind something like supporting your local restaurants is something that resonates with all of us. And so I think for advertisers, this isn't necessarily a time to sell your product as much as it is to just show that you care about your community and you want to help out and you want to be relevant in that way.
There are a lot of brands, like national beer brands and national beverage brands. They have a vested interest in making sure these restaurants stay open. That's their customer pipeline as well. Plus, it can show that they really care about those restaurants.
Yeah, totally.
I think I could maybe be helpful in approaching a couple of brands if you want my help with that. And even though right now, brands and the tonality needs to be mindful of this current crisis, there are still brand impressions being left throughout this process. And so you're communicating the fact that there is a safe exchange, that you have adapted to this new business environment, that you're trying to make it as easy and safe as possible. That is a lasting brand experience impression that you're leaving with the consumers.
That's a great point.
And so I love that this goodness is what is the business secret right now.
Yeah, whether you're giving someone a laugh or you're giving them some free disinfectant, brands should kind of be the Red Cross right now. That should be the mentality. And because a lot of brands don't quite know how to hit that note, what we're seeing is a certain level of paralysis within the ad world. And we're just making it clear that we're a unique agency and that we can sort of bring those ideas to life in the community.
It's a really beautiful solution. We just have to get it to more restaurants faster.
Yeah, that's really it.
Gosh, it's like it's the right phone call away from like hundreds and hundreds of these things being funded, you know?
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And it will be huge for them as well as all the people that wind up being served by it.
All right.
Cool.
Thank
you all very much.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye.
Join Deluxe and Flow Studios in donating at the GoFundMe link in this post. Street Factory Media will use the funds to install their safe serve system at restaurants who don't have the cash flow to cover those costs. And we'll be continuing to interview small business owners who are stepping up for their communities. So check back at deluxe.com/bigheart for more incredible stories, or send us a story from your hometown. #SmallBusinessBigHeart.